right? Whenever we do accent tap, it's like you need to keep a consistent hand shape, right? And then everything after that needs to be as relaxed as possible. Do this.
So I've been drumming ever since I was in 4th grade. I started in concert percussion. And then my marching percussion career started in 8th grade.
So what got me into music originally was my mother, who insisted at age 6 that I needed to play the piano. And so I did, and I did not like it. And so as soon as she said, you can stop piano lessons, which was about 2 years in, I stopped. And I really wish I hadn't stopped, because I would have been much better off later in my life when I decided to study music in college.
Been drumming since I was 4. More for pleasure than actually for getting paid. But yeah, it turned into a pretty steady hobby when I was younger.
Both of my parents were musicians. They were both singers. My dad taught at the college level, and my mom taught middle school and high school chorus. And so we had a rule in our house: when you start kindergarten, you start piano lessons. So that was kind of it. There was never really any other thought of doing anything else.
When it was time for college, I knew I wanted to do something with music, but I wasn't a child prodigy who could make a living as a musician. So I got interested in music education and also music therapy.
Teaching high schoolers is an interesting experience. One, because you have to be proficient in teaching all these techniques, but also just with managing the students.
Everybody learns things differently. Everybody hears things differently. I can make a statement about we're starting at measure 27, and half the class hears that, and half the class is not thinking about what I said and isn't finding measure 27, or they need to see it written on the board. I mean, this is kind of a simple example, but just learning about the differences amongst people, I guess, has been the biggest thing.
Teaching this activity is more than just teaching music necessarily. It's about teaching like life skills.
If you're trying to teach them music, you're kind of missing that first stepping stone of like how to be a good kid, how to be a good student, how to be a good friend, you know, and those are things you probably have to kind of work on first. Because if you're in a drumline section and the section isn't gelling well, how are you going to get them to play well?
Through teaching kids to practice more at home, to practice more with one another, to bring them in and talk out any problems they have with one another, to always work hard in rehearsal, to try even harder. Doing that in a way pushes my students to understand these life lessons.
Teaching in a regular education setting, I can see that students come in and they can play 6 notes and maybe count to 4. But as the year goes on, I can see the progress. And that, for me, is a little more, I don't know, it helps rationalize why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I can see that it's changing someone.
I think teaching has definitely helped me become a solid performer and also a solid student. Because you see things in other people that you want to try and make better and you want to try and fix. For me, kind of taking that look outside, it makes my own practices better because I can see it from a different perspective.
I would say the biggest thing that I have learned from teaching or from students is how to realize when something is not working and how to take a step back and how to recognize a problem before it's really a problem. It's really neat to see students that I started in the 3rd or 4th grade when they get to high school and they are like doing things on their own and and starting to really kind of take charge of themselves and their own life, and that's pretty cool.
You can check in with them and you'll be like, yep, that person's doing all right. Hopefully I had something to do with that next step in their life, whether it was they're going to be a good father or a good mother or, you know, a good lawyer or a good boss, maybe my lawyer, who knows, but there's always that next step that you hope they can take when you're not there. And it's, as I get older and start teaching more and seeing some of my older students, it's nice to see that they've taken that step.
I have students that I have had for 10 years, and they are a part of my family. I'm a part of their family. They're almost more like, their music teacher to music student is a very close-knit relationship. And that is kind of the coolest thing about it, I think.